New cast, new location, but the lies and betrayals are just the same. The first episode of the Traitors New Zealand Season 2 had an interesting start, with a couple of decisions that could possibly have an effect as the season goes on. We were introduced to 22 strangers. This time, Paul's intro was more on the truthful side after Season 1 had too many players that actually knew each other. In this season, we have a group of players from the general public. There is one case of players not being complete strangers, but it's just an instance of one player recognising another instead of an actual form of a pre-existing relationship. Donna recognised Jane because of where they work, though Jane didn't recognise Donna. As they approached the new location of Claremont Manor, I had my usual moment during the first episode of a season when my brain is scrambling to remember names. I would be worse if I was actually in the game. Before they even entered the manor, we got a surprise appearance from Season 1 faithful and winner Sam. Sam was carrying a tray of wine glasses that ended up being the catalyst for the first twist of the episode. There were two glasses that were different from the others as they contained what looked to be rosé instead of white wine. As Molly and Whitney grabbed those two glasses, I immediately thought there was going to be an instant elimination that ends up not actually being an elimination. I was wrong. Just like in Season 1, Paul gave them the opportunity to win some money. The choice was to take $5,000 for themselves or put the money into the prize pot. It didn't sound like they would have to leave the game like in Season 1 if they chose the money for themselves. Molly and Whitney both chose to put the money into the prize pot. In that situation, the guaranteed $5,000 is there for the taking, especially as there's no guarantee of getting to the end. But if you do, there's a possibility of winning up to $100,000. Taking the money could make some people a bit weary of you and question that if given the chance, you could double cross at the end. At this early stage, it's best to be off people's radar in any way you can to stay in the game, so I understand why Molly and Whitney both chose to put the money in the prize pot instead. Amongst the players, there are some interesting people whose jobs could either help or hinder them. There's Mark, the games master. His experience of strategy could work against him because people would think he would be picked as a traitor. Whether he would actually be good at playing this game remains to be seen. Jackie told people she was a columnist, but she's actually clairvoyant. From the versions I've seen, being a clairvoyant or medium hasn't boded well for them, so it was probably for the best that Jackie didn't give that information up. Jane was a former police officer in the UK, and Jason was both an ex-police officer and in the military. Jane and Jason didn't seem to share that information with anyone, only sharing what they currently do. Jane, Mike, and Whitney were chosen to be traitors, but it doesn't look like they did a good enough job hiding that fact after the blindfolds were removed. Jason was very observant.
Jackie kind of slumped a little. Mike, I saw a nerve pulsating on his forehead, which would contribute to severe stress.
While Jackie wasn't chosen, his observation could actually come in handy later on. Terry was quick to identify Jane because she took 3 deep swallows of water. Here was me thinking that Whitney was being the obvious one, but she was noticed. Ciale said Whitney stood out to him. Whitney went into manipulation game mode very quickly by trying to put things out about Mark. She was accompanied by Jackie, and it helped Whitney when Jackie would chime in. The mission was kind of morbid, with the players split into 5 teams looking around the grounds for 5 different doll parts. Every team found their part, and they had the opportunity to add more silver if 3 of them went to find a missing eye, which they did. They might be harmless, but going into a room full of dolls staring at you feels like a scene from a horror movie. I'm surprised nothing jumped out at them to scare and distract them. When Paul was walking around the players at the round table, I really wanted him to pick 4 traitors. I wanted that extra element right from the start, so when Paul only picked 3, I was a little disappointed. That disappointment didn't last too long, as Paul delivered a twist to the traitors in the conclave. As well as committing their first murder, they had the opportunity to recruit another traitor. Whitney suggested picking someone as bait, with Mark, Jackie, and Joe as their candidates. Jackie was their choice. Even though Jackie had the choice to either accept or refuse, she accepted. We didn't get to see who their candidates or choice was for murder, but going by those that are suspicious of them, it will be unknowingly helpful for the traitors if they got rid of Jason, Terry or Ciale. Will the Faithfuls be as intuitive as their Season 1 counterparts, or will the traitors succeed? Time will tell.